give brothers the opportunity to expound on the Bible and get their practice and their skills on knowing better teachings in the Bible. So today's lesson is called Who Are Israelites? And this is one of my favorite subjects because coming into the truth, I understood that knowing who the true Israelites is one of the key components to understanding the Bible. So today we're going to go over who are the true Israelites, how does God truly feel about them, and what exactly is their job and their position on earth today. So we're going to open this up at Hebrews 13. Hebrews 13, verse 8. And when you get it, my brother, go ahead and read.
Jesus Christ the same yesterday and today and forever.
See, out the gate, we already learning something. This is something I wish the world could understand better about God, that God has not changed despite what we have seen in the world and what's going on through the ages. Man's laws change all the time, but we're going to understand that God has not changed. He doesn't need to change. He's perfect. We're going to go to the next scripture, Hosea 11. Hosea 11. We're going to find out something about God. We're going to find out how God truly feels about Israel, because the world thinks that Israel is done away with. So we're going to find out what the Bible has to say about this situation. So Hebrews 11, verse 1. Go ahead and read.
When Israel was a child, then I loved him and called my son out of Egypt.
See, God, the true God of the Bible, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, this was the God that delivered the children of Egypt out of Egypt in their first bondage. We're going to see that he calls them my son out of Egypt. He refers to Egypt in another place as his firstborn. And there's what we know about the firstborn. Other children come after the firstborn because salvation is for the whole world. But there's an order to things, to the Jew first and then the Gentile. We're going to go to the next scripture. We're going to go to Deuteronomy 7. We're going to just move right along because it's a lot to cover. Deuteronomy 7. We just highlighting how God really feels about Israel, because the world has been taught something else, that Israel is done away with. So we're going to just figure out what the Bible has to say about the matter. Deuteronomy 7 and verse 6. Go ahead and read.
For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God.
See, we are a holy people, a set-apart people. He didn't come to any other nation. We're going to figure this out through the lesson. He only came to us, to the true Israelites. Go ahead.
The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
Above all people. Is it that we just better than everybody? No, that's not the case. It's just God chose us. He chose us because we was little among the people. Go ahead.
The Lord did not set his love upon you, nor choose you, because ye were more in number than any people, for ye were the fewest of all people.
See, right there, we was the fewest of all people. That's why he chose us. It's not that we were better than anybody. Go ahead.
But because the Lord loved you, and because he would keep the oath which he had sworn unto your fathers, hath the Lord brought you out with a mighty hand, and redeemed you out of the house of bondmen.
See, he promised Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob that his people was going to inherit the promised land. That was a promise that he made a long time ago, and he's going to keep that promise to today. Just like we went over the first verse, he's the same. So the promises he made yesterday, those promises are still valid today. Go ahead.
From the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. Know therefore that the Lord thy God, he is God, the faithful God, which keepeth covenant and mercy with them that love him and keep his commandments to 1,000 generations.
See, keeping his commandments is key, as we see. This is a key component with God and his people. We have to keep his commandments. That's how we've ended up in this situation. We're going to go over more on that. So we're going to go to one more place just to highlight again, how does God truly feel about his people? Because like I said, there's something else that's said about Israel. Either it's another people or Israel is done away with. And we're going to find out today both is false. We're going to go to Amos 3. Amos 3. Go ahead and pick it up at verse 1.
Hear this word that the Lord hath spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, you only have I known of all the families of the earth.
See, only us, he said. Only you have I known. Only have I known of all the families of the earth. Go ahead.
Therefore, I will punish you for all your iniquities.
See, now we're getting somewhere. We're going to find out. First, you only have I known. He didn't come to the Europeans. He didn't come to the Chinese. He didn't come to the Arabians. He came to the Hebrews at Mount Sinai. And because of that reason, just like you would punish your firstborn if you have multiple children and they all get into some mischief, you're going to punish your firstborn first because he should know better. He should have had more sense to stop the younger siblings. And this is how we've ended up in our position today. I'm talking about the displaced black man that's scattered across the nations, across the whole earth. We're going to go ahead and move on. Go ahead. See, now we're being punished for all our iniquities. And now we're going to highlight some of those punishments so we can highlight the identity of who the true Israelites are. We're going to go ahead to Deuteronomy 28. Deuteronomy 28. We're going to start off by seeing what God promised if we obeyed. Then we're going to see what he promised if we disobeyed. Go ahead and pick it up at verse 1.
Deuteronomy 28, verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
See, he said it again. The Lord wants us to be on top, but because of our disobedience, we're at the bottom on every level. Go ahead.
And all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God. Blessed shalt thou be in the city, and blessed shalt thou be in the field.
See, we'll be blessed instead of cursed. We're going to figure this out, that everything that's been happening to us across the generations wasn't necessary. All we had to do was keep his commandments. Go ahead.
Blessed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of the ground, and the fruit of thy cattle, and the increase of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep. Blessed shall be thy basket and thy store. Blessed shalt thou be when thou comest in, and blessed shalt thou be when thou goest out.
See, in every way we will be blessed, in every way possible. But we serve a God of conditions. And he simply said all we have to do is hearken to his voice and to keep his commandment and keep his law. But these things are not being taught today. We're going to figure it out as the lesson go on, as why that is going on. But it's a simple equation. All we had to do is keep God's commandments, and we will be on top of all nations. Go ahead.
Verse 6.
We can go ahead and skip a little bit. We're going to go ahead and go to verse 15. And now we're going to figure out what has happened to us as a result of us not keeping his law and not keeping his commandments. Let's go ahead and pick it up at verse 15.
But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field.
See, now everything is in shambles now. Everything is reversed now. from what we read earlier from the blessings. It says, curse shall thou be in the city, and curse shall thou be in the field. It don't matter if you in a rural area. It don't matter if you in the city. It don't matter where you go and try to get away from the curses. It's going to follow you. Go ahead.
Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store. Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body and the fruit of thy land, the increase of thy kind and the flocks of thy sheep.
See, the fruit of our body is our children. See, this is why our children is so displaced today. Our school systems are lower than, our food, just in every way possible, our children has been left behind. And this is why. It's not that because we're inferior. It's not that because all the nations are just smarter than us and just overcame us. No, it's because we turned our back on God. And he's, as a result of that, he told us that these curses was going to happen to us. Go ahead, brother.
Cursed shalt thou be when thou comest in, and cursed shalt thou be when thou goest out.
All right, go ahead and skip to verse 30.
Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her.
See, I wanted to highlight this point right here. It says, thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Growing up in the South, growing up in the deep South, I had an understanding about bondage and slavery at a young age, 5 years old. We, back in the day, it's not taught the same today, but we were taught at an early age. This happened to us. Roots, I saw that at an early age. I saw documentaries and just testimonies of slaves at an early age, and it had impacted my life greatly. And when it says, thou shalt betroth a wife and another man shall lie with her, we're not talking about this ordinary adultery. We're talking about another man forcing himself upon his wife, and you having no power to do anything about it. Go ahead, brother.
Thou shalt build a house, and thou shalt not dwell therein.
We're talking about the big houses, the White House, all type of free labor. We built this country with our bare hands, our ancestors, you know, and they tell us to just forget about it. No, we can't just forget about it, because in order for us to change the future, we have to understand what happened in the past to change. Go ahead.
Thou shalt plant a vineyard and shalt not gather the grapes thereof.
Go ahead and skip to verse 32.
Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people.
See, this impacted us greatly. This how we got so displaced. We saw how Kizzy on Roots, that was the most saddest part of the whole movie, if you ask me. When your daughter is taken from you and your sons is taken from you, and you have no power to do anything about it, there's like no greater pain than that as a parent. And I understood that as a black man. That's why these curses fit us like a glove. And I don't understand how people in 2021 is just not grasping this. But it's turning around. It's turning around though, ain't it, brother?
Yep.
Go ahead and go to verse 37. We're just highlighting key components of these curses that God set upon us so we can better identify the Israelite. Verse 37.
And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword.
A byword. You every name under the sun. You a Negro. You black. You colored. You a porch monkey. You like watermelon. These are bywords and proverbs that they've had about us. All nations have them, of course, but there's no competition when it comes to the black man. Yep. Go ahead and skip to verse 43.
The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low.
See, this is why. This is why. Not because they're smarter than us. It's because we turn our back on God. And God does not lie. If he says something's going to happen, it's going to happen. Yep. And he's telling you plain as day in black and white that the stranger that is within thee shall get up very high. No, there's no black banks. If there are, they don't last long. There are Macy's, Walmart. All these major businesses are not owned by black people, and this is why. Go ahead, brother.
He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
See, he even give you the reason why. The Lord is not vain. He's not vague. He's precise. If something is going on, there's an exact reason why it's going on. And this is the reason. It said, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he's command thee. And this is, like I keep saying, this is a solution to our problem today. Not marching, not voting, not doing any other extracurricular, but getting back to our book and getting back to the law of God, because that's our purpose. Bro, we're going to go ahead and skip to verse 68 to just put the icing on the cake of how we going to identify the true Israelite.
You want me to finish 46?
No, we're going to skip it. We're going to go straight to 68.
Right, 68.
Mm-hmm.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
See, here we go. You have to ask the so-called Jew who calls themselves Jews today, but are not. We'll get into that later. We have to ask them, when did you come into Egypt again by ship? They won't be able to give you an answer. I can tell you that. Because this happened to no other nation, to no other people but us. It says here, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way of I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more therein, and there shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. That means no man shall redeem you. Not Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, they put up a good fight, but when you're coming up against God, you can't stop his plan. Right. And the only way is to hearken back to his law and to get back to his commandments. That's the only way that it's going to change. We're going to go to Isaiah 42. Because we are identifying who this people is. Pick up Isaiah 42 at verse 22. And when you get it, go ahead and read, brother.
But this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes. And they are hid in prison houses.
See, we are hid in prison houses. Growing up in the South again, growing up in urban areas, I understand this. I don't understand how we are the minority in the country, but the majority in the prison population. And the average person knows that, but the average person doesn't understand God is behind this. God is behind this. Go ahead, read, brother.
They are for a prey, and none deliver it. For a spoil, and none saith restore. Who among you will give ear to this? Who will hearken and hear for the time to come?
See, that's what we have to do. We have to give ear to this. When someone is bringing you the truth, you have to listen to it, because this is a solution. We've always wanted a solution for hundreds of years, and we're finally getting it. We're going to move along. Actually, go ahead and read verse 24.
Who gave Jacob for a spoil?
See, we're going to find out who's doing these things. Is it the devil? Who's doing these things exactly? Go ahead.
And Israel to the robbers. Did not the Lord?
See, the Lord is behind this. The Lord is behind this. I tell my people, my co-workers all the time, tell my family members all the time, the Lord is behind our success, and the Lord is also behind our downfall. Go ahead and read.
Did not the Lord? He against whom we have sinned? For they would not walk in his ways, neither were they obedient unto his law.
See, we got to get back to his law and statutes. This is the whole key to this situation. And this is the key to Israel's redemption. And this is the key to us turning from all the wickedness that we've been having going on. Let's move along. We're going to go to Malachi 3. Malachi 3 and verse 6. When you get it, go ahead and read, brother.
Malachi 3 and 6. For I am the Lord, I change not. Therefore ye sons of Jacob are not consumed.
See, we're seeing it again. The Lord does not change. From Genesis to Revelation, from the dawn of time to the end of time, the Lord has not changed. And he's saying that for a reason as well. I don't understand the disconnect between Israel and Jacob, because it's all over the Bible. It says, for I am the Lord and I change not. Therefore you sons of Jacob are not consumed. This is how scholars are amazed of how we've been able to survive. This travesty that's happened to us through the translated slave trade, and even before that, it's only a miracle that we're still here. And we finding out that's God is behind that as well. Just allow he's behind our downfall. He hasn't utterly destroyed us. We're still here. Verse 7.
Even from the days of your fathers ye are gone away from mine ordinances, and have not kept them. Return unto me, and I will return unto you, saith the Lord of hosts. But ye said, wherein shall we return?
See, he's saying it over and over. We have to return unto him. We have to hearken to him. He's saying it over and over. This is what we have to get through our heads as a people. We're going to move on to John 4. Because we're going to find something, we're going to find out something about Jesus, that he came for Israel. Because the main doctrine is Israel is done away with. So we're going to see here with the Samaritan woman, he had something to tell her. So we're going to pick it up at verse 7. When you get it, go ahead and read, brother.
There cometh a woman of Samaria to draw water. Jesus saith unto her, give me to drink. For his disciples were gone away unto the city to buy meat. Then saith the woman of Samaria unto him, how is it that thou, being a Jew, askest drink of me, which am a woman of Samaria? For the Jews have no dealings with the Samaritans.
See, it was the custom of the Jews to not really deal with anyone outside their nation. That was their custom. Go ahead.
Jesus answered and said unto her, if thou knewest the gift of God, and who it is that saith to thee, give me to drink, thou wouldest have asked of him, and he would have given thee living water.
See, Jesus is putting the Samaritan woman onto something. He's trying to tell her, hey, I am the living water. You know, you thinking about a physical situation. I'm trying to give you something that's way greater. Go ahead.
The woman saith unto him, sir, thou hast nothing to draw with, and the well is deep. From whence then hast thou that living water? Art thou greater than our father Jacob, which gave us the well?
See, we could see in this spirit that this woman have is in this world today, because she's in some sort of delusion, as you see, because the Bible is clear that she's a Samaritan woman, but she just claimed that, what did she say? She had just claimed that Jacob was her father. How could that be? And the Edomites, who are claiming to be Jews today, we'll get to that later, they're doing the same thing today. Go ahead.
Art thou greater than our father Jacob, which gave us the well, and drank thereof himself, and his children, and his cattle? Jesus answered and said unto her, whosoever drinketh of this water shall thirst again. But whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst. But the water that I shall give him shall be in him a well of water springing up into everlasting life.
Right. Go ahead.
The woman saith unto him, sir, give me this water, that I thirst not, neither come hither to draw. Jesus saith unto her, go, call thy husband, and come hither. The woman answered and said, I have no husband. Jesus said unto her, thou hast well said, I have no husband.
Skip down to verse 19.
The woman saith unto him, sir, I perceive that thou art a prophet. Our fathers worshipped in this mountain, and ye say that in Jerusalem is the place where men ought to worship.
She thinks she's part of Israel again. I don't understand that. The Bible is clear that she was a Samaritan woman. That's what Jesus is trying to get her to understand. Like, go ahead.
Jesus saith unto her, woman, believe me, the hour cometh when ye shall neither in this mountain nor yet at Jerusalem worship the Father. Ye worship ye know not what.
Right.
We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews.
Now, we just got somewhere. This is why I came here, for verse 22. Jesus made an astounding statement. You know what we worship. Ye know what ye worship. Well, we know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews. What does that mean? Is it that we're the only ones that could achieve salvation? No, we just have, we point the way to it. We point the way towards Jesus. That's how salvation is of the Jews. We're going to expound more onto that. We're going to go to Romans 9. Running out of time. We're going to expound on exactly how salvation is of the Jews and what their role is. Romans 9 and verse 4. Go ahead and read.
Who are the Israelites?
This is where I got the title of the class. Go ahead.
To whom pertaineth the adoption and the glory and the covenants and the giving of the law and the service of God and the promises.
See, just like Amos 3 has said, he has given this to no other nation. That's how salvation is of the Jews. Go ahead.
Whose are the fathers, and of whom as concerning the flesh Christ came, who is over all, God bless forever. Amen.
See, it says, of whom as concerning the flesh Christ came, because Christ was also an Israelite. That's why I understand the disconnect between Jesus and the Israelites, because you have to understand it all goes together. Let's go ahead and let's go to Isaiah 5. We're going to figure out exactly why isn't this being taught on a worldwide basis. What's in the way? How has it got to this? We're going to pick it up at Isaiah 5, one verse 13.
Therefore my people are gone into captivity because they have no knowledge, and their honorable men are famished.
See, our honorable men are famished. That's what's going on. Our men like the T.D. Jakeses, the Jesse James, the Al Sharptons, men that's supposed to be our leaders, they're not teaching, thus saith the Lord. They're not teaching to turn back to our book. They're not teaching that. Go ahead.
And their multitude dried up with thirst. Therefore hell hath enlarged herself, and opened her mouth without measure. And their glory and their multitude and their pomp, and he that rejoiceth shall descend into it. And
that's it, brother. We're going to go to one more place, Revelation 3. That's one problem of why this is not being taught. Because we lead the lead in worship, we lead the lead in having churches, but this is not being taught on a broad scale. And one reason why we just read that our honorable men are famished, and this is another reason right here. Revelation 3, and pick it up at verse 8. We get it, go ahead and read.
I know thy works. Behold, I have set before thee an open door, and no man can shut it. For thou hast a little strength, and hast kept my word, and hast not denied my name.
Go ahead.
Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews, and are not, but do lie.
See, now we're getting somewhere. We have a people on earth that call themselves Jews and are not. But what does it say? They are the synagogue of Satan. Go ahead.
Which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet.
See, this is the issue. The issue is that there's been a people that's been perpetrating us. I would say arguably the biggest fraud in the history of mankind, because you can't just claim to be God's people, because you see he called it the synagogue of Satan. He's not pleased about that, and there's classes that expound upon that more. But I appreciate you guys. I hope someone got an understanding in Jesus' name. Again, the title of the lesson was, Who Are Israelites?